Hey guys, I'm gonna give everybody a second to get on. Actually, I feel like a lot of people probably won't get on because of the time, unless it's actually better for people. But okay. So just real quick, whether you're watching the live or the replay, um, I started like 5 minutes late because I saw a message from someone saying that their link had expired to download the PDF with this YouTube link on it. That's the second person because someone a couple days ago told me that they bought my mini masterclass, like the 40-minute video and PDF to get started pulling your own cards for people that want to get like Oracle cards and practice with their own cards. And they said that that link expired. So I guess it's just like a way that the website kind of protects my content, that it can't keep being downloaded like multiple times. So I will check to see if there's any settings for that I can control. But moving forward, I would just make sure that when you purchase Reiki, or if you purchase a mini course like my getting started with Oracle cards course, that you just download the content within the first 24 hours. So you get that link to your email where you can download that. So I would just make sure that you do that moving forward. I don't know if that's a new thing because I've never heard that before until now. So okay. But that being said, when I was doing the scanning of the chakras, um the only one blocked was the crown, but the solar plexus and the root had no movement. So it didn't say blocked and it didn't say open, which is interesting. But either way, by the time we were done, all of the chakras were open. So let's get started. I will say, when I was scanning the chakras, usually I get the messages mostly when I'm actually like with my hands on and putting the Reiki energy out versus scanning to see where we're at. But the crown, right away, I got that message when it was blocked that, there's a lot of information coming in and that it's making people kind of shut down and block it off. So it's like, when you're saying like, oh my gosh, I'm thinking too much, I want it to stop. You know what I mean? That is a way of you asking your crown chakra to close. But it's like innocent, like maybe you're having a lot of thoughts come in, or so many ideas that you don't know how to act on them, or anxieties or fears or something like that. But I just feel called to say that there's like different ways that you could probably, when I get to the bottom part, there's some guidance that came through for it. But just like the idea that your crown chakra is shutting down because you just feel like it's too much information coming in. And a lot of you, if you're not really like in tune, might not realize that you're having downloads throughout the day. Downloads, right? That's psychic guidance, that's intuitive divine guidance. There are divine ideas, divine nudges, right? And you want to pay attention to them. It could be that what you're being nudged to do, you don't like. Maybe it's like this nudge, like, listen, when are you going to realize that this job or this career is not fulfilling and aligned with you? When are you going to realize that this relationship, this person, this belief system, it's like turning a blind eye to it because you don't want it to be true. So you're like shutting that down. You're justifying, you're ignoring the red flags, right? Something else came through at the root too about this. So this as I'm talking, it's interesting how it's all the messages are tying together. But especially with this Libra, and the full moon is about release, and it's in Libra, which is about bringing balance and harmony. If there's things that are not harmonious for you, relationships, jobs, whatever, obviously we go to them because they're like the most like um significant things in adulthood. I feel like is our relationships with other people and our career, what we do, right, for purpose. um if it's not bringing harmony to you, if it's bringing disharmony, you're most likely having that come up for you right now, and that's what this is most likely about. Okay, so I felt called to tell you guys about a dream I had last night where I was at this like yoga class, but it was like a stadium, almost like a concert, like where someone's on stage and you want to be closer to them or something. And I was like in the upper level, and an old group of friends that I'm not friends with, like from high school, was down here. And I felt like so called to roll up my mat and go down there with them to be closer and in or whatever. And I there was cards, like tarot cards in my dream, and I wish I could remember what they were. I know one was the strength card. I don't remember the rest, but that has a lot to do with taming the inner beast, the ego, overcoming, obstacles, whether it's literal obstacles in your material world or emotional obstacles. And I kept getting the message like, you can be where you are right now. You don't have to, rush to go be with the group or rush to go be closer to the fire. You can be where you are, because in the process of rolling up your mat and trying to move over, you're missing parts of the performance, you're missing parts of the sequence, and you're most likely gonna not be thinking about your inward experience when you're surrounded by these people, versus if you were to just be comfortable and okay doing your own thing, like big FOMO energy, looking at FOMO. Okay, so when I got to the crown, I saw pyramids with like an eye, like straight up, like Egyptian. I think it's on some money. Some may say Illuminati, right? But I'm not gonna go there today, because that's not what I was picking up from this visual. Something I recently learned was that like the pyramids, depending on which way the eye is facing, it represents a certain Egyptian god or goddess, and it represents the masculine and the feminine. And I was seeing both, which makes a lot of sense with Libra being about balance, right? Yin and yang, balance, black and white, balance. It's all about the masculine and the feminine, the doing, the giving, the receiving, right? The action, the rest, like the balance. And obviously this is coming up a lot with Libra, because Libra is the two scales, the justice, the balance, right? Um, I actually drew a picture. I'm no artist, but to just give a visual here, like see where it was like one upward, one downward, and they came together perfectly. Masculine and feminine. Then I start to see DNA strands. So, something that you may not realize, and this may sound a little way too woo-woo for you, because it did for me when I first heard it, but now I've integrated it and it makes sense. As you're pulling in this divine guidance, at like think about when you evolve at all, right? You look back on yourself a year ago. If you've been on a spiritual healing, energy healing journey, you most likely can say that you are not the same person. Like so much of you has evolved and moved forward, right? That is evolution. Now, when you think about evolution, you think about literal DNA, right? DNA, evolution, changing of your structure. Another thing with the DNA too is like so many people, and this comes up later too, will say like, oh, because of my genes, because of my family line, my ancestral line, the way I was raised, and I was raised that way because my parents were raised that way, because their parents were raised that way. The DNA, the passing down of trauma, the passing down of belief systems, the passing down of, like, you think about it, like people, you literally inherit fucked up belief systems and ways of parenting and all of these things, like in my case, right? And in a lot of people's cases, maybe yours is different, maybe what you've inherited is different, but regardless, the point of the story is we hold belief systems and dense energies in our DNA. So when we are pulling in light, when we are allowing new ways of thinking to come through our crown chakra, when we are allowing ourselves to think differently, right? Because I'm on the crown, your DNA is changing, it's activating, light is being brought to it, and you're changing the game for your ancestral line moving forward, and also bringing quantum healing to the ancestral line before you, saying it stops here. This has been coming up a lot. um Recreation of the generational, yeah. And then I was hearing like, oh wait, I don't want to skip. That came up later. So came up again later. So the healthy balance of giving and receiving. I was also seeing with the triangles, like imagine like a food pyramid, right? This is something I see sometimes, which in my interpretation, when I see that, it means the prioritization of things. Look at your priorities. Look at what you're spending too much time doing and not enough time doing, and make sure that it aligns with like, you're doing a lot of what is good for you and minimal of what can be like disruptive, like maybe a lot of consumption of content that you don't like or something like that, right? That doesn't make you feel good. Pay attention to also, but I was getting the priorities, prioritizing what you give and also prioritizing what you receive. So really looking at what you put out and what comes in and prioritizing what you want to do more or less of. Um, and then I was also seeing like imagine like a ball at the top right before the crown chakra, and the message of like you can ask for the downloads to slow down if it's too much. So it's like imagine like the downloads come in, but then it hits this ball, and this ball is like, okay, I'm gonna hold it and like slow feed it, kind of like a slow feeder for like your pet. Okay, you could just pray, ask for that. It's too much, it's too overwhelming. Please slow it down. Like I need slower integration time. Um, Okay, third eye, I saw a stone, like, stack, like, when you look at, like, meditative stuff, like, they have, like, stones that you pile on top of each other and, like, make this tower, right? And I was getting from that, see ways to chill, see ways to relax instead of ways to freak out. So many of us, we go through and we are so quick to find, like, our minds are wired to find things that stress us out, to find things that we have to do, to look for things that are out of place. What if instead you rewrote that and found reasons to relax, found reasons to be peaceful, found reasons to be present? Imagine how your whole being would change, right? um I was seeing a vast desert, and the third eye between your two eyebrows is about seeing clearly, right? And I'm seeing a vast desert, and I heard see nothing. Be comfortable seeing nothing. Um, like, if there's nothing there, don't wait for the shoe to drop. Okay. I was hearing intuition over trauma. Like, so many people, like, put it, here's an example. Let's say you were cheated on by your ex. Okay. You have a new relationship, and something inside of you is telling you something ain't right, right? It could be hard for you to differentiate, is that my intuition giving me proper guidance, or is it my trauma speaking to me to try to protect me from what happened before? So really being able to look at that differentiation, that discernment between the voice of your traumas and your ego and fear, and the voice of your soul and your intuition. So sometimes if there's nothing to see, just let it be nothing to see, and really try to dig deep when these things come up and go, like, because so many of us can be so like, I know that this is what it is, but maybe it's not. Maybe it's your trauma. So really, and that could be something for your relationships, right? With this Libra to think about. Now, I'm not asking you to gaslight yourself. I'm asking you to be honest with yourself and be like, okay, could this be, like, I had someone come to me recently and say, like, I know I'm recreating something in a healthy relationship because it was around this time in my last major relationship that I was really crushed. So I'm, like, subconsciously, like, trying to catch it. So be aware if you're doing that. So the truth or the trauma. Um, the throat, I immediately start to chant Om. Okay. Om. It's like what you typically think of when you think of, like, chanting or meditation. Humming and mantras. So I was hearing, like, too, like, something I recently learned, for someone with an overactive mind that's, like, trying to calm their mind and get focused on a meditation, chanting can be really helpful for that, because you're literally using, like, you're not just relying on your mind to be quiet, you're distracting your mind with the vibrations, and the vibrations are also helping to calm your mind. So even if you're saying Om over and over again, okay? Um, you can look up different chants too. You can go on YouTube, right? So take advantage of that, even if you do it for like 2 minutes. Um, then I was seeing, like, a white tube of light, and I was hearing, like, imagine that this tube that connects what you say, that you're really conscious of who it reaches. So before you speak, who is what you're saying going to reach, and what are your intentions? Okay? Just like, so, like, that idea of just, like, not just speaking to soothe your own needs to speak, but also considering the effects that it will have. Again, not in a gaslighting way at all, but, like, if you're quick to get angry, or you're quick to voice your opinion, or you're quick to give advice, make sure that who it reaches is open to receiving that, and that you're gonna give the intention that you want to give. So maybe pausing before speaking and considering where it reaches. I was also seeing black and white, which is, again, that balance of yin and yang, that balance of give and take. And when it's time to talk and when it's time to listen. So not over talking people, not interrupting people, not interrupting conversations, not viewing your viewpoint as more important than another's, where you can just stop them from speaking mid sentence. I do that because, and I'm really trying to be aware of it. I hate when it's done to me. And there's an example of the way that we are mirrors of what we do. That was done to me a lot as a child. And therefore, it's like a habit that I formed. And I hate when people do it to me because it triggers whatever from when I was a child, but here I am doing it. Like, there's, like, that awareness of, like, a lot of times what people do to us, we also do, we have to look at, right? Um, then I was hearing, like, breathe into your throat to release. So for some of you, that might be like, breathe into my throat, but, like, literally when you breathe in, imagine that it's, like, landing here, like, and expanding. And you're expanding the throat area and breathing out any dark density. So breathe in white light and visualize white light. entering the throat and then breathing out any dark smoke that is representation of dark energy kept in your throat. If you were ever, always told to keep things quiet, keep things a secret, afraid to voice your opinion, people pleasing, and help to balance out that darkness and that light, that black and white. Okay. The heart, I was seeing a picture frame, and then I literally started to hear Family Portrait by Pink, and I couldn't stop singing it the whole time. But it's like, for those of you that haven't heard it, in our family portrait, we look pretty happy. Let's like we pretended, right? Like we're pretending in the family portrait to be happy. Let's go back to that time where we could be happy, or whatever. Maybe a time before things went sour in the home, or the idea of pretending from the outside, but what's going on behind closed doors. Um, and then again, that's when that ancestral and generational healing that I was talking about with the DNA and the crown chakra came through, and I heard recreation of the generational line, recreation of the story, a lot of rage to be released. I was literally seeing like a shark, like the mouth of a shark, and it was just red, and to me it just represented like a predator, like this rage, this trauma, this belief system, this ancestral family thing, this generational curse that just wants to come and just like take away from the happy moments. And I was hearing like, you need to recreate that story. That's a lot of rage that needs to be released. I don't want to go too deep into a really deep topic, but a lot of times we hear things about like evil and demons and yada yada. But the reality of the situation is our inner demons, the demons that haunt us, are just energies that have been kept in for so long, and snowballed and snowballed and snowballed, where they manifest into these things. And if it's handed down through generation to generation, let's say great great grandpop was an alcoholic that beat mom. So now great grandpop was an alcoholic that beat mom, and then grandpa was an alcoholic that beat mom, and then maybe your dad was an alcoholic. Maybe he didn't beat your mom, maybe he was terrible to your mom, and now you're like, okay, I'm not fucking doing that in this one. And your trauma wants to attract you to someone like your father, or maybe you're with someone like your father that you're like, okay, you know what, this is not fun, I have to break apart the family portrait, and this is not going to be fun, but I am going to do it. It stops here. I'm recreating it here. Or maybe you just have to be aware of who you're calling in. Maybe you're not that far in, and you can just be aware of the type of people you called in. Maybe you can look at your past relationships and see how it connects, right? This is just an example. I'm sure you can find a way to kind of plug it into your own example of generational curse, right? For me, it would be a lot of addiction, a lot of mothers leaving their children, right? I am recreating that. Same thing. Um, so rage to be released. And with the heart, seriously, I have like a little shamanic maraca. It's like custom made, and I shake it, because you think about it, it kind of feels like you're breaking something up, right? So before I started the Reiki, I did this to shake up your energy, but I whipped it back out for the heart, and I was like pulling up energy, because there's like this vault that I talk about, that I have, and I know we all have this vault, because I went through my whole life, most of my older, like teen, preteen, young adolescent life, with this vault where I stored so much trauma, so much pain, because I numbed everything all the time. I numbed everything through not good, ideal ways, right? And I remember, you might have heard me talk about this before, but it was like this vault opened up, and I was in my apartment, and I was literally fetal position, hysterically crying. I was having so many flashbacks. I imagine that it's similar to what happens to like a soldier that comes back from war and has PTSD, these flashbacks. But it was like a movie film, and it was just like situation to situation to situation to situation to feeling to feeling to feeling to feeling. And like all of these memories came up, all of these feelings of, oh my God, things weren't as good as I convinced myself to think that they were, or normal. And this is not a normal situation. And what I went through was not normal. And like, it was like this whole thing. And my husband was there. Now, this has happened to me a few times. Think about drunk in the bathroom, right? Like crying, like, oh my God, right? But this was dead sober, and it was like, boom, like this vault burst open. It couldn't hold anymore. And I was telling my husband, like, at the time, he wasn't my husband. We didn't have kids. We didn't have a house. But I was like, you just need to go away. Like, I'm in so much pain right now, and I don't know what to do. And you definitely can't help me right now. And it's this idea of this vault that opened up, and all of this suppressed stuff come out. That's where that rage, that shark is. You have to release it. And I was like shaking it, and I put sage here and I put selenite right on here. So there's like a lot of you that have so much. And the worst part is when you have a vault and you haven't tapped into it yet, a lot of times you don't even know it's there. You don't even remember the stuff that's in there. It's science. Like your subconscious, your mind tries to protect you and store stuff. Like, but energetically it's there and it's affecting you, and it's that intuition trauma voice that you can't discern. It's, am I recreating it or is it real? What is real? Like, am I recreating the family? I don't want to. Like, it's where it all is, and it has to be released and let out. And people don't want to do that because they don't want to feel it, they don't want to see it, they don't want to see the pain, but it's so important. Okay, so big cleansing in the heart. Solar, I saw in your solar plexus, I saw an outline of what reminded me of like Our Lady of Guadalupe. When you see like the Blessed Mother or Our Lady of Guadalupe or any Our Ladies, she's like standing and she's in her like outfit. I'm not sure what it's called, the veil and everything. And then there's like an aura that radiates around her. I was seeing that. And then I was also hearing like aura by itself. So like your solar plexus is where you keep your life force. It's your confidence. It's your power. It's your everything you believe in yourself. It's your purpose, right? And it's like it will radiate your aura. If your solar plexus is really activated and you're confident and and you're in your purpose, like that radiates from you. No one like you walk into a room and people can tell she's on a mission. She's confident. She knows what she's been through, some shit, but she healed. Something about her is different. You're being called to that type of energy. And if you connect with the Blessed Mother, I really connect with the Blessed Mother. You can see still in this crooked picture, the Blessed Mother, I connect major with her, which goes back. My dad connected with her about me when I was a kid. So if you have any connections to any Blessed Mother or anything like that, that could be her way of coming to you right now, or it's just your invitation to expand your aura in a good way. We all have auras. Expand your aura in a way that you're healing your confidence, you're healing your story, you're stepping into your purpose. Okay. Um, Light language started to channel through me, so that's something that I don't really broadcast. I have never posted that. I've never done it live with a person. Maybe that's why it's coming up for sacral or solar for me, because I'm not confident. I'm nervous about it. But light language is like, it's basically like a channel. Like I'm channeling for you right now. I channel for you when I do these readings. I channel for you when I do card readings. It's not coming from my brain. It's coming through my crown out to you. So light language is this like, it's different for everybody. It always sounds different. It can come from, different divine sources, and it passes your conscious, it passes your subconscious, and it's like your body remembers, your soul remembers. It goes right to your soul, and it creates like these activations. Remember I was talking about the DNA? It's just like healing that words. It cannot be transcribed, it cannot be translated, it cannot be understood. Even one light language speaker to another doesn't know what the other's saying, because you don't even know. It doesn't translate to English the way that if you were learning Spanish, like, that like rojo means red. Like it doesn't do that, right? It's just a feeling and knowing. So that started to channel through into the sacral. Solar, I keep saying sacral, I'm sorry. And then again, rewriting what you were told you are versus who you are. So that idea of like, say you were told this, that, and the other thing about yourself. You should do this, go to school for that. Rewriting it and being like, this whole time, do I even know who I am? Or am I just living a life that someone told me to live because it was the best for me? I was the best at it. It was the easiest. It was all I was good for. It would create the money. What do you know who you are? Rewrite that story. Like, what was put on you and imprinted on you, and what are you born with that's ready to be expressed versus what was taken from the outside and put on, okay? Because there's a lot of shedding happening right now. So much shedding, especially with the aspect of Pluto right now on Libra and full moon, and then we're entering eclipse season and I know sometimes it can sound redundant, like it's always about transformation. It's always about this, because we are always transforming. We are ever evolving. And as we go through this like major thing that's happening in the world and the collective right now, this mass awakening, there are so many layers to be peeled off, and it can't all happen overnight, right? So we are always in this process. Now we're entering eclipse season. It's going to be even more so. So really identifying with who you are and letting that aura radiate out. So the sacral, right below the belly button, your reproductive area, right when I got to this section, I started to feel dizzy. I drew it again. I saw the triangles, except this time it was really black and white. So a balance of giving and receiving. Connecting to the messages of the crown, I was feeling sinus pressure, hearing the word congestion. So sacral is where you give birth, but also where you birth creative projects, where your creativity lies. So if your crown chakra is blocked, how are you going to birth and create when you're not getting the divine inspiration or nudges or messages, right? There's this congestion. Now it makes sense. I was like, why am I feeling congestion in the third eye area? It's getting stuck and it's not making its way down, right? You have to allow it to integrate. You have to do things that allow these, even if it's slowing down and saying, slow it down, give me that ball above my crown that will slow feed me, right? So that it can work its way down and not get all blocked up and stuck. Because you really are supposed to take the messages from your crown chakra and bring them here and let them gestate, right? Like a pregnancy, let them have gestation, let them fester and be ready to birth and recreate, whether it's a project, a child, or a version of yourself, okay? But it all comes through here first, not from the ground up when it comes to these ideas, these inspirations. At this time, I was smelling Palo Santo so clearly that even someone like me, I was like, there's no fucking way there's no Palo Santo lit, that I'm smelling this. That's like one of the first times I've really had like that clair of the nose. I could have sworn, and there was no Palo Santo here. I looked over to see if there was Palo Santo in my incense thing, then maybe the incense came down and the fire from the incense was burning it. And I realized that the incense was out and there was no Palo Santo. So I took the incense, I relit it. You might see it in the time lapse when I post it. I relit it. And then I was like shaking it so that the flame would go out and the incense would start to smoke, and it went out and then the flame came back again. So you might see it. I don't know if it'll be too fast with the whenever I post the time lapse. But so I look over and so it's like I relit it and it kept flaming and then finally it went out. So that was interesting for me. And then the Palo Santo. So a lot of people know of sage. Like sage is where you cleanse and you get rid of bad energy, but the Palo Santo is where you invite the good in. And I was hearing like, don't while you're doing all this clearing out, don't forget to invite the good in. Don't forget to affirm that you are open to receiving the blessings. Don't ask for the blessings and the new things. Don't forget to ask for them to come in. Okay, please remove the things that are not working for me, but also put in my path the things that I'm meant to cross. Put in my path the things that I'm meant to learn about. Put in my path the things that I'm meant to do. Ask for signs from the universe. So for me, I went to Little Flower in Philadelphia. It was a Catholic all-girls school, and Saint Therese, aka the Little Flower, was the patron saint. And something that we were always told was when you pray, ask to see a rose. And when you see a rose, you know that your prayer was heard. The little flower, the rose, right? And we would always see roses, right? It's the same thing. When you're manifesting, when you're praying, ask for a sign. And we would ask for a specific sign of the rose. You can pick your own. It could be a butterfly. It can be a deer. It can be a feather. Ask for a sign to know that your prayers are heard. And when you see it, whether it's in real life, in a magazine, on a billboard, on the TV, you will know I'm heard. Okay. And then the root chakra, I saw an arrow pointing up, and the root is at the base of your spine. It's the one that grounds you. It keeps you out of the clouds and in your body, because in the clouds, there can be so much anxiety if you're not staying rooted and grounded. So I was seeing a white arrow, which made me think of like earthing, right? So taking your feet and standing in grass, standing in the earth. If you don't have grass like me in this concrete jungle that God, for some reason, wants to keep me in because none of my house offers are getting accepted outside of the city, you can visualize it. That's good enough, where there's roots coming out of your feet or out of the base of your spine, out of your sits bones if you're sitting, and going into the earth and wrapping around the core and charging you up. Imagine yourself charging with the energy of the earth, of Gaia, and pulling up through your roots into your body and charging you and giving you energy. So the same way you pull the light and the divine inspiration in, you pull the earthing and the charging and the energy, the force, the life force up, okay? Do that every day. It's so important. Charge from your feet, the earth, nature. You can go for a walk, go for a hike. Then I was seeing the visual of like if you're in a car and you're a kid and you're in the back seat and you're just looking out the window and it's like it's driving so fast you can't see and you're like look about, like it was like this message of like stop letting life pass you by, okay? Like things passing by so quickly, really connecting to that message of my dream of be here now. And then I heard the word blind spots, and I'm having deja vu right now significantly. Wow. Like major deja vu right now. And deja vu is a beautiful thing. It means that you are right where you are supposed to be. We have been here before. It means that you are on your course. If you have been here before, then you know that you're not operating off of your path of where you're supposed to go, because past, present, future doesn't or past and future doesn't exist. It's all the same, right? Like, can you go to the past right now? Can you go to the future right now? Like, it's all the same. um I love when that happens. So maybe that's a sign to pay attention to deja vu too. And then I was hearing blind spots. Okay. So again, tapping up to wherever I said before about like not wanting to see things for what they are, having blind spots, right? It's time to shed light on them. Be open to seeing the red flags. Be open to seeing, like, maybe what I experience is not normal. Maybe what I was told was a lie is true. Maybe what I was told is true is not. Like, really shedding light on your blind spots that you can't see. Because you think about it, if you're driving and you're going over, if you look and there's a blind spot, you're crashing. Expose the blind spots. Okay. So there's no collision. Okay. So you can stay on the course. So that was the chakra report. For those of you that this is your first Reiki, you can see why I really emphasize them. Um, you can see why I really emphasize them, because so much comes through. It really does. So much comes through. Like, that's all. I don't even need to do a card reading, but I will. But that's the point. You get so much, like, in this offering. Maybe it's too much for the crown chakra. Gotta slow it down. Where are my cards? All right. So let's do a little tarot reading. I'll probably pull a couple oracle cards too and see what comes up, okay? Just need to catch my breath. Now, for those of you that got readings from me, especially in my early days of doing readings, I used to yawn all the time. I still do sometimes. It can be very indicative of slowing down, getting more rest, yawning too. Like, for me, when I was younger, I used to always like have to yawn and couldn't catch it, but really it was like kind of a symptom of anxiety, like shortness of breath. So paying attention to that. Okay. Right, let me see what cards come out. I'm gonna let them come out, and then I'll do the reading. Oh, Temperance. I love it. Nothing like a good Temperance card in a Libra sign. All right. So we got the Queen of Swords, the Fool, and we got the fucking Six of Pentacles. All about the look. He's holding the scales. He's holding the scales, the Libra scales. Okay. Every time I say that, I think a Little Wayne. Anyway, so Queen of Swords, the Fool, and the Six of Pentacles. So there is a time, either right now or recent past, as early as this morning, yesterday, last week, as these energies start to integrate, that you start to embody some Queen of Swords energy, where you start to cut through some bullshit and see things clearly. You start to question that, what I was just saying. Like, is what I thought was true false, or is what I thought was false true, or is this even who I am, or was this put on me, or am I even happy here, or am I recreating, or like all of these like questions, right? These questions about what's your outside world, and kind of trying to cut through the top layer, like that family portrait. On the outside we look pretty happy, let's play pretend and act like it comes naturally. Going under that and seeing what really lies there. The Fool, like, maybe you were really being called. Some of you took the leap and it was really challenging, and some of you just didn't do it. This leap to dive into this. Okay, what the fuck is here? What do I need to uncover? What is going on? And as a result, in your relationships and in your life and in your relationship with yourself, you're asked to look at, where am I giving too much? Where am I only taking? Where am I people pleasing? Where am I being taken advantage of? Like, that idea of like even give and take. Like, don't always be the beggar. Don't always be feeding the beggars either. It's the balance. So this could be with money. This could be with love. This could be with yourself. Like, are you constantly giving to other people and never to yourself? It's that pyramid, right? The pyramid, the balance of give and take, and prioritizing in each category. So right now you might have some stuff coming up out of left field. You're like, wow, I was not expecting this, whether it's a thing in your physical world that's a relationship and job that's unfolding, or it's just inside of you energetically. This guy's got two different shoes on because he like jumped up. He was not expecting this. He grabbed the wand. He's fighting these things that are coming out of nowhere at him, right? Dedication, staying the course. Don't run away from the battle, and don't even identify with it as a battle because it's not, but don't run away from it. You've come really far. It's time to uncover these things and to work through them, and it might feel like hard work. It might feel like you're really fighting to stay afloat, but it's very important because with this King of Wands energy, like whenever I see this lizard here, it's like you could cut a lizard's tail off, it'll grow back. King of Wands, Wands is the sign of, is the suit of fire, of passion, which can also be of rage. So maybe you have rage coming up. Maybe it's about a father figure or a male figure that had a lot of rage, a lot of fire. Maybe it's inside of you. You have this masculine tendency to quick to rage or quick to fire or anger, and it's challenging for you. Or maybe it's challenging for you to feel like you're ever going to get to this point where you can say, okay, I grew my tail back. I can sit on my throne and say, I can see things clearly now, versus just the one, like I envision him at the top being the king and he's down here fighting with the wands in the battle, going from in the battle to, whoo, I've earned my stripes and I'm up here and I won and I'm the king now, feeling like you're never going to get here or feeling challenged to get there. But the Eight of Pentacles comes in and says, it's hard work from dusk till dawn sometimes, but that's the experience of healing. When people say, I don't want to feel bad, or I don't want to feel these emotions, or I don't want to go to therapy and undig that, I used to say that all the time. Why would I want to like dig up shit that's just going to make me feel bad? Like, why would I go into a therapy session so that they could ask me a question that will get me angry or sad when I could just not go and not think about it and numb myself? Like, I really believe that, right? But this is telling you, it's hard work. You have to sit with that stuff. You have to be willing to pull it out and like deal with what comes up. But as a result, you're going to establish this temperance, this inner healing, this inner harmony, this sensation of that you don't take things so personally anymore, that what you've been through, what you've gone through, what you're going through doesn't sweep you away. Look, she's earthing. She has one foot in the grass, one foot in the pond, which represents the water, represents your emotions, your memories, your healing, right? She's pouring evenly. She's got so much even distribution that she's not pouring from an empty cup, and she's not pouring into an empty cup. The cups overflow into each other to the point where it doesn't even gravitationally make sense, because she's found such inner harmony that she's never giving more than she has or receiving more than she could give. It's such like everything that we're talking about here. She is peaceful. She has these white flowers on her head, which represents that purification of the crown chakra and the third eye, the ability to see things clearly and not have the trauma speak for her. This is tying everything in together. The clouds are representing the divine wisdom around her. She's open to receiving it. Okay. And like something could go, oh, look, she has a flower at the heart chakra. Wasn't the sacral connected to the heart? Because the sacral's orange. Basically, her heart portal is open. That void is open and it is bloomed. It's no longer a vault, okay? This is your goal, and it's going to bring you forward movement. Some of you might really have to move, like physically move. Please, please give me a sign. A rose. Give me a rose that I'm going to move. There I go. I'm taking my own advice, right? Maybe the movement is not going to be easy, or it's going to be a hard decision to make because of the position that it's in, or maybe you're just not going to feel like you're moving. And here's that black and white, that yin and yang. Maybe you're really being called to establish this balance so that you can move forward, whether it's physical movement or energetic and emotional movement. But regardless, you're coming to this Queen of Pentacles energy, and this is like such a beautiful, beautiful energy of being present. That idea of not looking out the window as everything passes you by, not fighting to be down in the yoga mat with the people that, so you don't have FOMO, so you feel like you fit. This is like, I can do it all in a way that is harmonious and not stressful. This is like the mother that can, feel at peace in her home and not stress about things that are out of place, and be present with her children while also, making her money. Instead of always feeling like you need to accomplish the next thing like that. Remember, like I said, don't look for the things to stress about. Look for the things to be calm about, right? That total rewire of that aspect. That's so much inner harmony here. Balance and forward movement, where you see it reflect in all areas of your life. Family, money, inner self, okay? The bonus card, Page of Swords, came out, which basically said, like, some of us, like, this is going to be like a little child trying to learn a new way of thinking. You're going to have to learn a lot, read books, be open to things that sound woo-woo to you or out of the ordinary, and really, like, go on a journey with this new way of thinking. Understand that as you learn something new, you're not a master of the craft right away, but if you stick to it, it will pay off. And oh yes, the Hangman is crowning it. You're going to have a whole, you stay this course, the Lovers. I didn't mean to drop that. And look, and another King of Wands. Wow. Okay, so that's 2 King of Wands now. I love that the Lovers just came out. I'm keeping that because the Lovers, look at it. This is beautiful for what's happening right now. This is harmony. This is making the decision to operate from love, making the decision to have healthy relationships, making a decision that for some of you, maybe the relationship is really healthy, but your trauma is speaking to you about an old one, and you have to make the decision to be present in this one and not keep going back to other ones. And for some of you, maybe and this could be love, this could be platonic, this could be with a job. This doesn't just have to be a romantic partner, okay? Or making the decision to see it clearly. So remember what I said, I keep saying, is what I thought was true a lie, or is what I think is a lie true? Like really making the decision to see things clearly and operate from inner harmony and love. And for some of you, that means leaving something to find something better and trust that it will come to you. And some of you, it means leaving an old past thing that you're living in and being present here now. And you're going to have a whole new perspective. It's like your whole world's going to be turned upside down with the Hangman. But look, his crown is illuminated with white light again. You can see things clearly now. Okay? Such a beautiful thing. I love how this tied in with the energies. Just let me see if there's another. So I never use this deck, but I feel like I was thinking about this deck before I did this reading. So let's pull a card from the Spirit Animal deck. I used to use this for my year ahead readings, and I'll probably read from the book for this because like the Wild Unknown, I love how they write stuff. But let's see what messages they need to know from this deck. I'm going to ideally pull one card and let that be the message for this season, for the next 2 weeks until the next Reiki, for this full moon in Libra, and see what comes up. And then I'll give you guys a affirmation. Just one card, please. Whenever I say one card, they give me like 10. Like, come on. Just one. Got it. Scorpion. So let's see here. It takes me forever to find because it's not alphabetical. So hold on. Is there like a friggin' maybe in the front? Tell me what page things are on. Sorry, be patient with me. Okay. Okay, so it should be here. Hold on. All right. That's not it. Sorry, guys. I'm like, why do you want me to pull this deck? This is the hardest. Okay, here we go. Passionate, competitive, tends toward isolation. The Scorpion is a passionate and determined creature. Their career is very important to them, as are a few select friends. Sometimes the Scorpion's heat festers, and they focused on an unresolved event from the past. Wow. Usually a situation where they were left feeling burned. And this card says it's time to come clean about your feelings so everyone can heal and you can get back to your usual fiery but fun self. So when your Scorpion energy is in balance, you are wild, free, and fierce. When it is out of balance, you are jealous, resentful, and unresolved, unhealed. Remember the vault, recreating past, it said right here. To bring it into the balance, ooh, cosmic egg. To bring it into balance, you have to have honesty and forgiveness. So that honesty with yourself, the honesty with others, and the ability to forgive. And don't get it confused. Forgiveness is not equivalent to like saying it's okay. A lot of people don't want to forgive. Like, for example, guys, like my sister was murdered and in a very gruesome way. and she was taken advantage of before and after she was dead. Do you think that I will ever be like, cool, I'm totally fine that that happened? Right? But to hold on to the rage and the anger and to not forgive, like I've seen this man in court. I spoke to him from the podium, and I had to say, like, to myself, like, there's something in this person's soul contract here, a reason that they came here. There's something that he was exposed to. There's something that he witnessed. There's something inside of him that made him make that decision, and to think that that was something fulfilling and satisfying. And that's, his fish to fry. You see what I'm saying? And I'm getting chills when I say this. Like, the forgiveness is more so like, you know, that aspect of having compassion and not being full of the rage. It doesn't mean that I'll ever say, cool, thanks for doing that. That's great. You know what I mean? So that same type of thing. I got chills. I did not expect to talk about that. So let's do an affirmation card. And I have a lot of family that holds on to a lot of rage and anger, rightfully so. I can't say like if that was my child, if I would still be able to have the same thing, but you could see the difference in the people that have found the forgiveness and the people who haven't. I listen with love to my body's messages. My body's always working towards optimum health. My body wants to be whole and healthy. I cooperate and become healthy, whole, and complete. So what's coming through for me with this right now is like, as the weather gets nicer, as summer, if you're in this part of the world, summer, you wear shorter clothes, less clothes, it gets hotter, you want to take care of your body, you're motivated to get outside more, vibes are high. Don't forget to also take care of your energetic body too. So you're doing that right now through this Reiki healing, things like that. So really listening to your body. And maybe even too, like, one of the questions I recently started to ask myself is, when something triggering comes up for me, asking myself in that moment, where am I feeling this in my body? So if I'm feeling angry, if I'm feeling sad, where in my body am I feeling it? And then I can know that that's where I'm holding this feeling. That's where I'm holding this trauma. And then it's cool to start paying attention to that. Or, like the book, Your Body Keeps Score, is all about your energies and how you hold it inside of your body and how it manifests in your body. And noticing like, I keep noticing that I hold it in this certain place and I'm maybe manifesting illnesses there, right? So interesting to pay attention to. So, okay, so that concludes our Reiki healing for this full moon in Libra. Thank you for doing this with me on this odd time, but I figured it was better than a Saturday night. I want you guys to have a great rest of your day, whether you're watching the live or the replay. Drink a lot of water. And as always, I really value your feedback. So you feel free to DM me, text me. Let me know if you had any sensations while you were meditating, if you got the chance to lay down while you were getting this. If not, totally fine. You know that doesn't affect your receiving of it. Or maybe like throughout the day, or if you get your sign, or if you have a dream, anything. I'd love to hear about it, okay? So you guys have a great rest of your weekend. Have a happy holiday weekend if you're celebrating, and I will see you soon. Bye.